In this formatting video, we're going to talk about how to take a document, a Word document, and create an ebook. So I have this document. I don't have the copyright page. I don't have the title page. There are a few icons and images in here. Images will add cost to an ebook and slow things down. So I just want to kind of go through and take those out. I also want to note that there is a tab right here, and I'm going to leave it in chapter 1, but for the rest of the chapters, I have taken those out. And then all the way at the end for this author, she has a bunch of these icons at the end as well. I'm going to take those out as well for the same reason as before. They're just going to cost money and time in downloading the book to the ebook, so we don't want any of that. So once we have that done, really creating the book for the ebook is pretty simple. It helps if you have all of your chapters set as a heading. It'll help once you get into Kindle Create, and that's what I'm going to use. I know there are other ways of doing it. I tend to use Kindle Create. We put our ebook often into Amazon, and it's Amazon's baby. So that's, to me, usually the easiest way to do it. I'm going to hit save. Then when you open Kindle Create, you just have lists of other books that you may have formatted for yourself, for other people, and then you hit Create New, and then you're given some information. You can do a tutorial. I'm going to hit continue. You can create a new one. You could type it up in Kindle Create. I don't know why anyone would want to do that. I'm going to open a new file because I don't feel like you need to see my entire file system. I'm going to jump to the open file. So just so you know what's happening next. So once you click open, you get this importing and converting your document. It gives you some information. It's basic information telling you things. You can read it or ignore it. It goes on longer than you need. You might get kind of distracted with the flashing pages as it goes. Kind of look at the top for importing and converting up top, and when it says cancel import, because before you know it, it's going to change over to being done. This is a bit of a longer document, so this may take longer. And then you have your book. So you can continue, but it's successful. So I'm going to continue and get started. I now have everything in here. It first says deselect anything we don't want. These are exactly my accepted chapters. So I'm going to say accept. And now everything is in here that I want. I can move things around. I don't really want to, but this is exactly what I want for those clickable chapters when you put the content page in. So now I'm going to start up here in Front Matter. I'm going to click Add a Title Page. We have to add the title, Hammer and Heart, and then the author, Erica P. Christie. I don't know if she has a publisher, and I don't add any extra images, everything like that. It's going to slow everything down. So there's our page. We can see right here that's really uninteresting. Come here to check out themes, classic, Cosmo, Amore. I almost do everything in Amore. I think it's pretty. So that's what I select. That'll change everything for the entirety of the book. Next, I'm going to do the copyright page, and I'm going to say it's owned by Erica P. Christie, and that we are publishing in 2024. Now, all rights reserved. This is fine. This is fine. Now, starting here, this is not fine. None of this is correct. This is all generic. So I'm just going to delete all of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come not to the ebook, but to the paperback where I have the copyright done and I have the ISBNs for the ebook, paperback, hardcover. I have in here the editors, developmental editor, cover art, formatter. I have all of this in here. I also have this line I like putting in my books. No part of this book was created, written, or otherwise conceptualized by AI. I always put this in my book because it's true. So I'm going to copy all of this, and then I'm going to come back to Kindle Create, and I'm just going to plop all of that right in here. And now we have all of that in here, and we can create this page. And so we now have the copyright page in here. And then we can come here. We don't need the dedication. We have that at the bottom. I don't think we need any of the rest of it except for the table of contents, which is going to add everything we want in here. Now, other things I like to add, if we want this acknowledgements to be on that table of contents, what we do is we just make acknowledgements a title. And then when we come here, we'll see that that's actually clickable. I also usually take each of these, I like to format it so it's not 28. I usually go down to 20. I don't think it needs to be that big. The other things I do, I like doing drop caps. I did that in the book, and it's really easy here. They have a button, apply drop cap. Easy peasy. I said to take out that first line indent before coming over here, because if I don't, the way you get rid of that indent is you have to click on indents and you have to come over here and you have to click down until you get it to 0. It's only 2 clicks, but if you have to do 2 clicks per chapter before you do that, it's obnoxious. So it's much easier hitting chapter 3, come down to here, apply, and do that for each of them. Another thing I like doing is, and I don't know if it matters, this is chapter title. I'll sometimes come to the name and say subtitle. It just makes it a little prettier because the subtitle has a little bit of an italic. So I'll come to chapter 2 and say subtitle. Usually what I'll do, since these are in different tabs, is I'll go through and do all of the subtitles all the way to the end, and then I'll come up and do all of the drop caps. So I'll do one and then the other. It speeds up the process just a little bit. So that's how I do that part of it. It'll ask me to save as I go, which I will do, and I'll save it in the proper file. So I'm going to pause and get that file set up before, so I'll hit save. Oh, it's in the right place. So I'll do that. So that's fine. Save. And then eventually I'll hit export. And usually what I do when I export is KPF is what's needed for Amazon. Amazon is going to demand a KPF formatted file for KDP. Almost everywhere else is one that I've seen wants an EPUB. So I always do both. And then I'll hit export. So notice all these files in the folder. I have the images that I wanted to use, the files that I bought from Deposit Photo, all of this other stuff. The first thing I want to do is I want to make a new folder for ebook. Then from the new folder for ebook, I'm going to save in here so everything is kind of a little bit more organized. So now I can say Hammer and Heart ebook version 1, because often you have little tweaks you have to do. So I might end up with multiple versions. So I will hit export. And if I come in here, once it tells me it's done, I could have just said show file. Yep, no items there. You see that both of the folders were created. So I can create it again. I can try again. I'm not going to try again until I finish with all of my formatting in here. I would come in here and do the same chapter title, subtitle for each of these things so that people are definitely going to want to be able to come to the pronunciation guide easily. They might want to get to about the author. I'm probably going to take this image out because as lovely as it is, it's not usually something that people are going to want to be able to, trying to get rid of this extra space. People are not usually going to want to spend the extra money on images within an ebook. And then here, this is where you find the author. And here I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say, oh, it is already a hyperlink. So these are already hyperlinks. Sometimes you have to right click and say insert hyperlink, but these are all hyperlinks. So these are all great. I am going to highlight this and make sure that it is centered properly so it looks a little bit better. That one doesn't look quite perfect. And then I want to come to bloopers and make sure it is a title as well. Okay, so now we have all of these titled exactly how we want them. I'm going to go through and finish making sure all of these chapters are exactly how I want them with the title and subtitle. And then I'm going to get this export to work for both versions that I want. There are many other things in here you can see in your elements, and for each element you can format how it looks. You have lots of options in here. You have spacing, you have indents. I don't use all of them. I usually bring it in pretty much how I want it and just do a little bit of adjusting. But you do have a lot of options. You have a lot of things you can insert. You can insert things into the body. You can insert things down into the back matter. A lot of the stuff could be back matter, but you have a lot of back matter things you can insert as well if that's what you want. You can add books by this author. That will add hyperlinks about the author, books and series, all of this other stuff. So I've added it because it was part of the book, but you could also do this later if you're doing your own writing within something like Kindle Create. So Kindle Create has options. I usually just add it within the text itself. I find it's a little more flexible. These tend to be a little tight in their non-flexibility, but you do have those options as well. So once you're done with this and you feel that this is how you want it to be, you save it, you can preview it, you can say, hey, what will this look like once it's an ebook? And you can say, look at that. This is what my book looks like. This is what it'll look like on a Kindle. And it's kind of exciting, especially like your first time. You're like, hey, look, this is what it's going to look like. How exciting is that? So there are lots of little whistles and bells in here that will really help you get the feel of what you are creating. I hope that this has helped you figure out how to create an ebook. Like my page, subscribe to my page, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.